up HITC Sport? Alright, let's get into this one then. Let's go look at every Premier League club's one player whose transfer value utterly exploded in 2021, shooting up from where they were in 2020. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Emile Smith-Rowe, 15 million to 60 million. Yeah, Emile Smith-Rowe might be the star of the Emirates Stadium now. Alright, go back to 2020 and this fella was a shriveled up teenage boy stuffed in a championship relegation battle unknown at Huddersfield, stuffed in some Yorkshire travel lodge, eating pizza every night and messaging old women on Tinder. And guess what, lads? He was stuffed on the bench 6 times. He returned to Arsenal for the start of the 2021 season, with Mikel Arteta clearly valuing his existence the same way you'd value a clump of dead skin on your foot. Poor old Smith-Rowe, he was stuffed in the attic until the day after Christmas when Arsenal smashed Chelsea 3-1. That was his big break, but before that, oh honestly, Arteta clearly thought that this guy had about as much footballing ability as a wet tennis ball. He trusted him the same way you'd trust Michael Jackson to work down the creche. Sure, Mesut Ozil had been exiled to Turkey, but this kid was still behind the likes of Joe Willock, Danny Ceballos, and Willian in the pecking order. If I was him, I'd have been close to ripping off my own nipples in frustration. You're damn right, in 2020 Arsenal would have cashed in on him, someone they viewed to be just some championship standard lump of muesli for about £15 million. But look at him now. In 2021, he started 34 games for Arsenal, scoring 9 times. He's even scoring for his country, admittedly against a goalkeeper who probably cleans toilets for a living. But still, this man is a future Arsenal captain. He's a full England international. The guy's worth £60 million at least. Aston Villa, Emiliano Martinez, 16 million to 50 million. It's mental to think that Aston Villa signed Emiliano Martinez in the summer of 2020 for £16 million. I can only surmise that the men in charge of Arsenal's finances must have spent the previous week shoving lumps of cheese up their nose. It's just hideous. He's since gone on to keep a club record 15 clean sheets in the Premier League last season. He's won the Copa America with Argentina, recently kept a clean sheet at Old Trafford. I know he's just lost 5 games in a row, but it's hardly his fault. I'm not suddenly gonna pretend that he's now got wrists made of pizza. No, the man is top quality. He's got 3 years left on his deal, so if he was sold, the club would probably demand at least £50 million, right? Brentford, Ivan Toney, 10 million to 40 million. It's mental to think that it was only last year that Brentford paid Peterborough just 5 million quid for Ivan Toney, with potential add-ons rising up to 10 million. Considering that fella then went and lashed 33 goals for Brentford in the championship, I'm pretty sure that full 10 million paycheck has been cashed. But it's mental. Apparently Celtic wanted him as well, but we're only offering a half-hearted £4 million before choosing to sign Albion Ajeti from West Ham instead. I'm sorry, can you imagine Toney in the Scottish leagues, playing against the likes of St Mirren and Motherwell? He beat Glasgow's Didier Drogba, chewing all the golden boots as if they were lollipops. But no, nobody rated him enough to go out and sign him, with most snooty clubs thinking that the idea of shopping in League One was the same as fishing for your dinner at the bottom of a bin. But no, I think now he's surely valued at £40 million. Brighton, Shane Duffy, 3 egg sandwiches and a packet of Monster Munch to 15 million. Shane Duffy's career was stuffed down a very large well in 2020. Even a low move to Celtic only made things worse. I'm not sure how, but he looked like a broken tractor even against the likes of Ross County and Dundee. If you'd offered Graham Potter the chance to feed his contract to his dog, oh, he'd have gladly spent that weekend picking lumps of laminated paper out of his dog's stool. But no, to be fair, this season, Duffy has stepped into the shoes of Ben White and been an utter defensive monster for both club and country. And so yeah, now he's probably worth about £15 million. Burnley, Nobody at Burnley has really skyrocketed their transfer value up at all. I mean, they're just a solid, steady team. No breakout stars, nothing. Just solid 6 out of 10 performances. Move on. Chelsea, Edouard Mendy, 22 million to 90 million. I don't understand this. Chelsea signed Kepa Arrizabalaga for £80 million, making him the most expensive goalkeeper to ever exist, despite having the concentration of a dehydrated duck. Sure, he can save a penalty, but mostly just... And yet with Mendy, they pinched him for rent for just £22 million. The man cost less than Jordan Pickford, and yet in 2021 alone, 24 Chelsea clean sheets, including 1 in the goddamn Champions League final. Thomas Tuchel has single-handedly turned this guy into one of the best goalkeepers on planet Earth. And I'm convinced Chelsea wouldn't sell him for 1 penny short of £90 million. I mean, let's not forget how low his stock was in the summer of 2020. Offer Chelsea fans this dull as dishwater Ren goalie, or a £50 million move for Dean Henderson, you know, the modern day Joe Hart, and honestly, I would be scared to see the response. Crystal Palace, Conor Gallagher, 10 million to 35 million. Yeah, 2020 was the year of Liam Gallagher. 2021 is the year of Connor. Go back to the summer of 2020 and Conor Gallagher was just some forgotten Chelsea midfield dish towel who was spending post-lockdown on loan at Swansea. Considering Frank Lampard was too busy fawning over the likes of Mason Mount and Billy Gilmore, that I'm guessing Gallagher must have felt about as valued as a toothbrush dipped in dog food. Price well, Crystal Palace and Newcastle were sniffing around with £10 million bids. Well, in 2021, the man has come alive. Sure, he was mostly chewed up in midfield like scrambled egg on toast during the disastrous Sam Allardyce reign at West Brom, but since moving to Crystal Palace on loan under Patrick Vieira, 4 goals, 2 assists, and he's now a full England international. I don't think this man has a Chelsea future, but still, they're going to cash in for about 35 million beans. And don't you dare laugh, considering they bought Danny Drinkwater for that price 4 years ago, considering they bid the same amount for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, then I don't think this is unrealistic at all. Everton, Demarai Gray, 1.5 million to 15 million. I commend Demarai Gray. The man has spent the calendar year of 2021 very publicly having his dignity splattered all over the toilet walls. If you're a 24-year-old winger sold for just £1.5 million to Bayer Leverkusen, the same year Jadon Sancho's getting talked about for £100 million, it's embarrassing. It's essentially your parent club telling the world that you're worth the same amount as one of Ayotte Perez's toes. The fact Bayer Leverkusen then sold him to Everton for pretty much the same transfer fee. Oh, that's just perfect. 2 transfers in 2021, both totaling a combined £3 million. Why don't you just announce to the world that Gray's got the footballing ability of a paraplegic squirrel? It was just insulting. The world seemed to think he was just another Scott Sinclair. I mean, yes, sure, he might mostly have the end product of a rotten bowl of Nesquik, but still. Anyway, so far this season, he started every Premier League match for Everton, only spending a combined 45 minutes on the bench. He is to Rafa Benitez what Jermaine Pennant was to him at Liverpool. A solid mid-table winger. He's chipped in with 3 goals, 2 assists. Do you really want to tell me he's worth the same as a paycheck for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Look me in the eye and tell me that this man is worth 1/5 of a Jake Paul fight purse. Pretty sure Everton wouldn't let him go for anything less than £15 million. Leeds, Rafinha, 17 million to 50 million. Yeah, it's fast looking like Rennes were the team everyone should have been buying from in the summer of 2020. Crisp up their bargain deals everywhere you looked. Rafinha was another one. In France, he was just a 5-goal a season winger. But now, in 2021 alone, the Brazilian's clearly been eating his Weetabix because he spanned home 9 goals for Leeds, many of them from outside the box. He's comfortably the club's best player. He scored twice against Uruguay in a 3-0 win for Brazil. This guy is edging out Everton Suarez. He's playing in the same team as Neymar. This is a guy who wants Champions League football. Surely he's worth £50 million. Leicester, Kelechi Iheanacho, 50 million to 40 million. Go back a year ago and Kelechi Iheanacho was a Leicester flop. Apparently Brendan Rodgers was ready to give up on this love of Kendall Wax, about to flog him to Fenerbahce for £15 million to concentrate on a £40 million bid for Celtic's Alexander Duarte. That was the plan. And then Iheanacho woke up. Whereas before last Christmas, he looked like an unfit imposter who deserved to rot on the bench, but in 2021, he scored 19 goals. I'm not sure why, but from February until May, this man was the best striker in the Premier League. Just ridiculous centre-forward play. And so yeah, now he's probably worth about £40 million. Liverpool, Nathaniel Phillips, 5 million to 15 million. Okay, did anyone in Liverpool really boost their price tag this year? Not really. Maybe Nathaniel Phillips. 18 months ago, he was some forgotten about 8th choice centre-back. If he'd have been sold to someone like Portsmouth for 2 hamburgers and a packet of hula hoops, nobody would have batted an eyelid. But in 2021 alone, he's played 14 league games, and guess what? Was on the wing side 11 times, even scoring in a 4-2 win at Old Trafford. Oh yeah, and he helped the club keep clean sheets against RB Leipzig and Real Madrid in the Champions League. Yes, Nat Phillips. Someone who everybody thought was about as valuable as a bowling pin. I mean, sure, he's now gone back to picking up frostbite on the bench, but he's probably worth a £15 million sack of cash for the club. Man City, Ilkay Gundogan, 40 million to 70 million. Don't get it wrong, in 2020, Ilkay Gundogan was still a brilliant footballer, but nobody would have been shocked to see Man City sell him to Barcelona for about £40 million. But for about 6 months of 2021, this man became the club's best player, chipping with 15 goals this calendar year for Man City. The man's one of the first names on the Germany team sheet, and the decision to bench him for that Euro 2020 clash with England, I'm sorry, just utter wet lunacy. He was the most informed German footballer on the planet. But yeah, even though he's 31 years of age, he's probably worth 70 million. Man United, Jesse Lingard, 8 million to 30 million. Okay, I couldn't find one for Man United. Nobody has really skyrocketed their value at the club in 2021. Honestly, nobody. Even Jesse Lingard. At the start of the year, yeah, he was valued at about £8 million. And even now, the papers are saying that Man United are willing to accept a £10 million bid. So nothing's really changed. But at one point in 2021, yes, this man's value did utterly rocket to sky-high levels. Go back to the summer, and a rejuvenated Lingard had just smashed home 9 goals in 16 matches for West Ham, was back in the England team, and apparently had a £30 million price tag slapped on his head. Considering everyone had accepted that this boy was a washed-up potato, ready to be binned to Real Sociedad, then that was some career revival. Some people even thought, with that sort of form, he'd be able to rival Bruno Fernandes for a spot in the team. No. Newcastle, Jacob Murphy, 5 million to 12 million. Again, nobody at Newcastle has really boosted their transfer value either. It's mostly been a hideous calendar year under Steve Bruce. I mean, maybe Jacob Murphy. Whereas before, he was a 12 million flop banished on loan to the Championship. He's since come back into the team, maybe, I don't know, 12 million, maybe, I don't know. Norwich, Andrew Bailey, £300,000 to 10 million. Andrew Medaley is a hero. At 19 years of age, the 6-foot defender from Kildare has already got 5 Ireland caps under his belt. Last year, he was some unknown Irish teenager rotting in the reserves. Even Timu Pukki probably didn't even know who he was. He'd played just 1 minute of Championship football by April. 1 minute, 60 seconds. But then he starts the last 8 Championship games of the season, one of which was a 7-0 win over Huddersfield. I mean, this season, he spent nearly an hour marking Cristiano Ronaldo in an Irish shirt, played the full 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss at Arsenal, scored in a 2-1 defeat to Leeds, and just played the full 90 minutes in a 2-1 win at Brentford. Oh yeah, not to mention he played in a 6-0 win over Bournemouth in the EFL Cup. Last year, sure, he was mostly seen as probably an oversized lump of chewing gum that Daniel Farke wouldn't have even said hello to in the morning. But now, £10 million at least. Southampton, Valentino Livramento, 1 million to 20 million. I don't even want to try and imagine how lowly Chelsea viewed Tino Livramento a year ago. When he was, what, 17 years of age? Frank Lampard probably didn't even know who he was. He was probably about 9th choice right back at the club and would have been gladly flushed out the door for £1 million. But now, for Southampton, 12 games and a goal this season, establishing himself as the most impressive teenage fullback in the division. You're damn right he'd cost a solid £20 million. Tottenham, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, 15 million to 30 million. Again, nobody at Tottenham has really skyrocketed their price tag this year either. This has been a pretty terrible calendar year for the club. Maybe Pierre-Emile Højbjerg after a great Euro 2020 with Denmark. Tottenham signed him from Southampton for £15 million, so now he probably costs double that, right? Watford, Will Troost-Ekong, 3 million to 18 million. Will Troost-Ekong must be one of the bargains of Watford's recent history. After lockdown in 2020, the Dutch-born Nigerian defender was signed from Udinese for just £3 million. I think after forcing his way into the team, playing 32 Championship games last season and 7 Premier League matches this term, factoring the fact he's the goddamn Nigerian captain and made a talent like Chris MD look every inch Frodo Baggins in a pair of football boots, then yeah, the man's probably now worth about £18 million. West Ham, Declan Rice, 50 million to 100 million. I don't want to talk too much about Declan Rice, or honestly, it's just going to make me sick in my mouth. But the facts are this: in another world, Ireland could have 2 £100 million footballers in the same starting 11. I'm sorry, that's almost too painful to stomach. Feels like I've just swallowed a stapler. But yeah, this time last year, Frank Lampard was desperate to bring Rice to Stamford Bridge for just £50 million. But in 2021, the man has only lost 5 games in a West Ham shirt in the entire calendar. What? Not only that, but he's won 21 games in a West Ham shirt. That is an unheard of ratio. Factor in the fact he's an England star who just reached the final of Euro 2020. The fact that Rio Ferdinand is calling him the best midfielder in the world. And yeah, I hate to say it, but West Ham are not selling him for less than £100 million. Oh, I just want to rip out my own tonsils. Wolves, Max Kilman, 10 million to 20 million. Really? This has been the year for a former Welling and Maidenhead United defender Max Kilman. He was barely used in 2019 or 2020, but now he's played every possible minute of football under Bruno Lage. Even chipped in with a goal against Everton, so yeah, why not £20 million? Anyway, that's it, Mills. Let me know, what do you think? Alright, what players skyrocketed their value? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.